How's the defense been the first few days of practice?
You know what? I was pleased today with the energy. Today we did a little bit of third down, started installing that. So, still plenty to clean up. We're going to need all those days all the way till, September 4th. But the energy of this group is good, and they need to keep it that way. I was expecting it would be like that with the strong senior leadership we have at every single level. And, the mixture of adding those young guys in and that young sort of enthusiasm that they have, excited to be out there. And the thing that's really good is the sort of the camaraderie they're showing to each other. Young guys feeling like they can, cheer on old guys, and vice versa, old guys getting fired up for young guys making plays. So that's what's good. Again, still a lot to clean up, and fix, but we'll get that done. I just like the energy.
On the defensive line, you've got a lot of guys who spent last year as freshmen. How did those guys use that year, and how have you seen them grown, in this camp?
I have. You know what? From a movement standpoint for those guys up front, I think they're moving better. Last year, I think they were a little rigid in some of their movements. Having a whole year with Coach Ed, Coach Hill there in the weight room. An entire year with Coach Stewart, working those steps, working the footwork. Hey, listen, when you're a young guy and you're a young D lineman and you come in and you've got a 300-pounder that's about 6 inches away from your face, you're not really thinking about stepping and moving away from, you're making sure that you try not to get knocked off the ball. So now they can do two things at once, all right? They can walk and chew bubble gum. They can move while striking. So that's growth. We're not there yet, but we're getting there.
Right, how many safeties can you ask for to play? It seems like you're so deep at that position. How do you find ways to get all those guys involved?
You know what? I think it'll naturally sort of take care of itself. If you try to force too many things, hey, listen, we got plenty of reps. Coach does a nice job of getting us enough reps out of practice. So I don't think any of those guys would complain that they're not tired at the end of practice. They get plenty. They run enough. And so they'll all get work, which is good because then we can get a clean eval for each single one of them. It'll be good to see in the scrimmage. Really it cleans it up a little bit when you have to tackle to the ground. Who can make open field tackles? That's a huge part of being a safety. And then having the knowledge and the understanding. There's a lot of different things that happen, a lot of different motions and shifts, checks, alignments. So that'll just sort of clean out itself. But hey, listen, you can't, I think Coach has said it before, is that you can't have enough DBs. You can't have enough quality DBs in this league.
Are you getting the level of play from Devontae, compared to where he was at last year? Is he feeling more like himself?
D-Rob?
Yeah.
D-Rob is starting to look more like himself. He's, weight-wise it's down, which is great. He looks, so much better. You can tell the confidence level that he's playing with right now. So that's encouraging to see. He's making plays, and with every play that he makes, it adds to the confidence level. And so much about that position is just building the confidence back. And he's going to have to be a big contributor for us. There's no doubt about that.
Have there been any pass catchers in particular that kind of give you guys some headaches?
No, I think that whole group, over there is doing a good job. I think, for me, from a defensive side looking on, I never really, when we go against our offense, it's not about, hey, which number's out there, who's catching balls, who's giving us issues. It's more about the scheme of the defense. And so I'd be lying to say that one or two are doing better than the others. You'd have to ask, the offensive guys.
Is that offense, is that something you foresee seeing regularly this fall at all?
You know what? You never know what you're going to see from year to year. It's funny, offenses, defenses are the same way. You have these off-season clinics, you get together, and then there becomes sort of an offense or a system or, really plays of the year. And then you see every team run them, even if it didn't used to be sort of based to their package, that they run it every week. And really what everybody sees is the plays that hurt you early in the season, you're going to have to defend them the rest of the season. So we've got to do a good job of trying to limit, those plays that get us exposed. And if we do get exposed, just be ready. We're going to see it for,
Other than
10
the,
games.
the quote unquote usual suspects, other than Carrington, who you see stepping up and being the guy that's going to really shine on it all the time?
You know what? I've been. There's certain guys that have flashed, but to isolate one, I think this early, I really think you need to sort of get through a first scrimmage and say, okay, who can pin a ball carrier to the ground in a live scrimmage when, hey, the ball's moving, there's tempo. Hey, who can really rush the passer when it's, hey, I've gotten a breath, I've sit down, I know it's a blitz period. Hey, that's easy to tee off. But can you do it in a live game situation? And it's so funny. Sometimes you feel like, hey, man, we just had a great week, of defense against the offense. You go into a scrimmage and then you just get, you get whitewashed. And it's because it's completely different. Scripted practice reps are different than non-scripted scrimmage reps. So to be able to tab anybody this early, I think would be, unfair and,
Brad, how challenging has it been for you with Liam coming in with his new system to kind of coordinate with him to make sure that the offense and the defense both get good bang for their buck?
You know what? I don't think it's been that challenging. Yes, there are certain plays that we may see that's not necessarily based to their system, but what they're doing offensively is great for our guys. And so, you know what? I don't see it as a negative. I see it as a positive. I see it as our guys having to adapt and adjust to things that are a little bit new. I think it's great for us coaches to be able to have to adapt on the fly. So for the few, negatives of maybe not getting a self-scouted rep or whatnot, I think the positives far outweigh that.
You're not letting up on him at all, are you?
I ask Coach Cohen every day if he could just let up on me a little bit. Just a little.
How's JJ Weaver progressing?
Moving along. Again, I think he's sort of on track. He's working hard. That's all we can ask. And we'll be patient and very, very methodical in terms of how we incorporate him back. But from an effort standpoint, from a locked-in mental standpoint, you can't ask for anything more than what he's given.
Thank you, Coach. We got the